This is Shadowline News, with breaking developments in Kenya's unprecedented security crackdown. The government's systematic targeting of dissenting officers has escalated dramatically, with the arrest of Jackson Kuria, the controversial prison officer known as Cop Shakur, marking another chilling milestone in the state's war against accountability. Cop Shakur was arrested Wednesday at the Kahawa Law Courts, where he had gone to support fellow FBI movement founder Patrick Osoi. The timing reveals the government's calculated strategy to isolate and neutralize each member of what they clearly view as a dangerous coalition of former security personnel. The irony is bitter and profound. Jackson Kuria Kihara, the 25-year-old prison officer, was already interdicted after being actively involved in anti-government protests, having lost his livelihood for standing with Kenyan citizens during the June demonstrations. Now, his commitment to justice has cost him his freedom as well. The FBI movement brought together former security officers with a shared mission to defend victims of police excesses, with Kuria aligning himself with the movement and even taking photos and videos dressed in military-like outfits. These images, meant to symbolize their readiness to protect citizens, have now become evidence in their prosecution. What makes Cop Shakur's case particularly significant is his journey from insider to outcast. Originally suspended for joining citizens during the anti-finance bill protests, he transformed from a government employee bound by oath to a vocal advocate for the very people the system had trained him to control. His story embodies the moral awakening that terrifies those in power. But Cop Shakur isn't the only officer paying the price for conscience. Two Kenyan police officers, Hiram Kimathi and Dennis Muniao, are facing dismissal after opposing shoot-to-kill orders and defending protesters during the past demonstrations. The systematic purging of moral voices within security forces reveals a government more interested in compliance than competence. If you're following this evolving story, make sure you're subscribed to Shadowline News, because mainstream media often misses the deeper connections between these cases. We're tracking not just individual arrests, but the broader pattern of institutional transformation that's reshaping Kenya's security apparatus. Police Constable Hiram Kimathi's case adds another disturbing dimension to this crackdown. Kimathi has claimed his life is in danger following a KTN interview, saying he fears abduction rather than lawful arrest after speaking publicly on police reforms and human rights. The distinction between legal detention and extrajudicial disappearance has become dangerously blurred. The geographical targeting in Kimathi's case reveals the vindictive nature of official retaliation. His controversial transfer from Kiyumbi Police Station to Toronyong Police Station on the Kenya-Ethiopia border was clearly punitive, designed to isolate him from the media attention and public support that had protected him. When that failed to silence him, more direct measures followed. The trio of Cop Shakur, Osoi, and Police Constable Hiram Kimathi recently announced the formation of the Fighting Brutality and Impunity movement, a group aiming to defend victims of extrajudicial killings. Their collective experience across different security agencies gave them unique insights into systemic problems, making them particularly threatening to those invested in maintaining the status quo. The government's response has been swift and comprehensive. Detectives from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations have arrested 2 members of the FBI group, suggesting a coordinated operation designed to decapitate the movement before it could gain wider traction among serving officers. What's emerging is a clear pattern of institutional cleansing. Officers who showed moral courage during the protests are being systematically removed, while those who followed orders without question remain in position. This selective purge will fundamentally alter the character of Kenya's security forces, potentially for generations. The timing of these arrests, coming just as Kenya faces renewed calls for police reform, sends an unmistakable message. Any officer considering speaking out about abuses or supporting citizen rights now knows the personal cost of such conscience. The chilling effect extends far beyond these individual cases. Looking ahead, the prosecution of these cases will test Kenya's judicial independence more severely than any recent challenge. The charges, the evidence presented, and the sentences imposed will reveal whether courts can resist political pressure when dealing with cases that strike at the heart of state power. For the families of these officers, the consequences extend beyond legal jeopardy. Their breadwinners have lost income, face uncertain futures, and now confront the possibility of lengthy imprisonment for the crime of standing with citizens against state violence. The personal cost of principled resistance has never been higher. The international implications are equally serious. Kenya's reputation as a stable democracy and reliable partner is being tested by its treatment of officers who refused to kill their own citizens. The world is watching how a country handles those who chose humanity over orders. The broader FBI movement faces an existential moment. With its key leaders in detention, the organization must decide whether to continue operating despite the risks or dissolve under pressure. Their choice will determine whether this moment represents the birth of sustained resistance or the crushing of dissent. For ordinary Kenyans, these arrests represent both loss and revelation. Loss because some of their few allies within security forces are being silenced. Revelation because the systematic nature of the crackdown exposes the government's true priorities and methods. The coming weeks will determine whether Kenya moves toward a security state where dissent is criminalized, or whether public pressure can force accountability for what many see as political persecution. The stakes extend far beyond individual cases to the fundamental character of Kenyan democracy. This is Shadowline News, documenting the stories that shape our future. In times when truth becomes dangerous, bearing witness becomes an act of resistance. Stay informed, stay engaged, and remember that democracy requires more than elections. It demands the courage to defend those who defend us.